What's up, guys? It's been quite a while, I know. Work has been a bit busy on my end, but I'm here to tell you that I am back. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that Jollof Hacker is back. And I am back with some exciting videos. So many exciting videos are coming your way. Okay? So in this video, I'm going to talk about buffer overflow for dummies. Now, this is a very, I wouldn't say a difficult topic, but this was something that I found quite difficult, when I was learning how to do buffer overflows and all. It wasn't that easy for me, so I kind of made it a vow that when I was going to teach about it, I was going to make it as easy as possible, as easy for a toddler. Okay, not a toddler, but as easy as possible for everyone to do. So, what is buffer overflows? Let's start with the definition, okay? Now, buffer overflow is when a memory area is given too much data for its space and the memory area overflows. This overflow can then enable the attacker to execute their own specially crafted code. Now, think of it like a cup of water, a glass. Now, there is a space, to put the water in, and then you just keep pouring water, and then it fills to the brim, and then it overflows. Now, that isn't really a good analogy, but at least it should just give you an idea of what it means. When I say buffer overflow, you are overflowing buffer space. Okay, I hope that's very, very clear. So now I know I said it's a for dummies course. I'm going to make it as simple as possible. However, it is very, very important that you learn, that you should know how to understand code, how to read and write code. You don't have to be like an expert or anything like that, right? But you should, have an idea, how to understand codes. All those exploits you download from GitHub or all these other sites, they are written by people, so you should also learn. You should also know how to understand code. If you know how to understand code, you are good to go. Then this video is for you. All right, you don't have to be like an expert, like I said, but just understand it. Okay, understand code, whether Python, C++, but it's very, very important that you should understand it. Okay, so now in simplistic terms, let's talk about the memory. Okay, now this is the memory. Now, for you to understand about buffer overflows, you have to know a little bit, just a little bit, all right, about the internal workings of the CPU. Okay, now in the memory of an application, now you have the kernel at the top, you have the stack, you have the heap, you have the data, you have the text. Now, if you don't understand it, just jot it down, just cram it somewhere, in your head. I promise this is going to be so I'm going to make it as straightforward or as easy as possible, but this is just the initial part you just need to grasp first. Okay, there's the kernel at the top, there's the stack, there is the heap, there is the data, and there is the text. Okay, now the kernel contains command line parameters. So this is the section storing command line parameters that we pass to the program, okay, and the environment variables. Okay, now the stack, it contains the local variables for each of the functions. Now this is actually the magic, where the magic happens, but we are going to be back here. Okay, then we also have the heap. Now the heap stores large objects, like your images, files, etc. Okay, so it's dynamically allocated memory, for the large chunks of data. So, and as you can see, it grows upwards in memory while the stack, goes down. Okay. Now you also have the data. Data is for store, is the place for initialized and uninitialized variables. Okay. Now we have the text. Now this contains the actual code. Okay, the code of the executable stored. All right. Now, what we are basically interested in, where the magic happens, is the stack. Now, if we expand the stack just a little bit, you have what you call registers. Okay, you have the extended stack pointer, the buffer space, and the extended base pointer, which is the EBP, and the EIP. Now, I know this might seem a bit confusing for you guys, but I promise you, I want you guys, even if you have to just cram this, just the initial, just this alone, okay, the more you practice, the more, because I'm going to be showing you quite some examples, and I'm going to show you how I perform my buffer overflow attacks. Okay, I'm going to be showing it to you guys. All right, so I don't want you to feel intimidated at all. Just understand that at the stack here, which is the part of the memory, you have the ESP, you have the buffer space, and you have the EBP as well as the EIP, which is the return address. Okay? Now, assuming an application is expecting some inputs from you, the user. Let's say the application wants let's say you to put a name of something, and maybe the application can only contain maybe 100 characters. Okay, after 100 characters, maybe the buffer space, everything is filled up. Now, what happens if I put more than those 100 characters here? If I put more than the 100 characters, maybe I put 1,000. Now, what happens is that everything here is going to be filled up and then into the EIP. Now, this is where it gets interesting, okay, at the EIP. If you are able to control the EIP, you could now put some malicious code that we now want. So we can now point the application to a malicious code, and you can now give us access to the system. Okay, now that's just, so the aim of Stack Based Buffer Overflow is to control this, the EIP. If we can control it, then we can point it to our code, and our code can now run. Our code, which is malicious, which is supposed to give us access to the system. Okay, I hope that is clear. So let me kind of summarize it again. Now, an application, let's say I scan a system, I scan a computer, I want to get access, and there's a service running on that system. There's an application running on that system. Now, if I can find a way to control the EIP of that application, then I can now point it to my code. Then my code will now run on it, and then it can now give me access. So that application on the system can be what can give me access to the person's system. Okay, now if this is a bit confusing, just follow me, because I'm also going to show you some example. I'm going to show you my method, how I do it. You know, the good thing is that there are so many tools that can also make our work very easy and very fast. Okay, so what are the steps to buffer overflow? Now, these are just a few things that you just still need to cram, just jot it somewhere, and I promise you this will just be the only thing you jot. The next thing, once it's part of you, it will become second nature to you. Okay, so we have what is known as fuzzing. Now, fuzzing is just, throwing all sorts of characters to try and break the program, find out what part of the program is vulnerable and trying to break it. So that means you are trying to crash the program. Okay? Then we now find the offset. Now find the offset. At what point exactly do we break that program? At what point do we break the program? Okay? Then there is something called overwriting the EIP. Okay? Then finding bad characters and generating shellcode. The shellcode is what's going to give us access to the system. Now, like I said, just jot these things down. Trust me, there's really nothing to it. Okay, just jot it down. Try to memorize it. Memorize the steps. When I finally start showing you how to do this, it's going to be second nature. You know, I assure you, this isn't hard at all. Okay? Now, what are the tools that you need? You need a Windows 10 system. You definitely don't need a Windows 10. It doesn't have to be Windows 10. Now, it can be any version of Windows. You know, the reason why you need the Windows system is because you need somewhere to actually test, you know, the program, because you're going to be crashing it multiple times. You cannot do that on the victim machine. Okay, you cannot do that on the victim machine, because then if you do it on the victim machine, the application crashes and you don't have access to like test it again. So you need your own separate machine where you are going to install that application. And when you install that application, you are going to do all sorts of tests. You are going to be crashing it, restarting it, crashing it, restarting it, crashing it again. So that's why you need a Windows system. You also need a Kali Linux system. Any flavor of Linux is good, okay? Kali Linux just happens to be the most popular. But you could use Parrot. You could use Ubuntu, okay? Then you also need what is known as Immunity Debugger. Now, all these tools, just go to Google and search for it, download it. Okay? I won't show you how to download Windows 10 or Kali Linux. I mean, a simple Google search will do. So I'm just going to show you how to download Immunity Debugger and one other tool that we are going to use to make our work faster. So follow me. So we are going to download Immunity Debugger. So we just come to Google and just type Immunity Debugger. Google should be your best friend. Okay? So the very first result here, that is where we are going to download it from. So this is the site. So I just come here where it says download Immunity Debugger here. So you click on it, and here you can now put your full name. You can put anything. You can put any address as well. You can put any email as well. And you can put any company. And once you click download, your download will start. Now, I don't need to download it because I already have it, you know, in my system. Okay? But this is just the way to do it. It's very, very simple. Alright? Now there is another tool you will need. You know, it's not really necessary, but it will make your work faster. It will make your work easier as well. It's a tool known as Mona. So just type Mona. You can say Mona GitHub. Okay? Now, this is what you need. So you just click on this. So when it's done, you just scroll down here and you can read about it. Mona is a Python script that can be used to automate and speed up specific searches while developing exploits, typically for the Windows platform. It runs on Immunity Debugger and WinDBG and requires Python 2.7. Okay? So this is also what you need to install. Once you just drop the mona.py into the py command folder inside Immunity Debugger application. When you are installing Immunity Debugger application, this is what you just need to do. Drop the mona.py in this folder and you install Python 2.7.14 or a higher 2.7 into the C Python 27 folder. Okay, thus overwriting the version that was bundled with Immunity. Okay, so this is what you need to do. Now after you have installed Immunity, you just come here, okay, and it's this file, this mona.py file. That's what you need. So when you are done, you are now ready to follow me on an exciting journey, a very, very exciting journey of exploits development. So with that, I come to the end of this videos. The videos to come there, and they are quite, a lot of videos. We'll be taking various targets and we'll be trying to crack them. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, share, comment, subscribe, and just be patient. Again, Buffer Overflows is very exciting. Okay, and I assure you, if you just follow me on this, you would not regret it one bit. Thank you.